Well,
But
what age did you start working out? I know working out's been a big part of your life, and it's been something that you've put a lot of time into and effort throughout basically your whole life, and even now, and took it pretty seriously. What age did you start working out, and I guess what influence did that have on you later? Like, did it create discipline and stuff in other avenues, or was it just kind of driven by just trying to bulk up and just see how big you could get?
well, I think so. I met this one guy in town that he owned a dojo at the time, and everybody was always like looking at him like, oh my gosh, this guy's huge. His name was
Yeah,
Joe, right? And they're like,
yeah,
oh, Joe's massive, blah, blah, blah. And you used to hear it all the time. And so I went down there and I like met the guy once to see what this was all about. Because for one, I grew up in such a small town. I never knew what fighting was. Like I never knew. You see stuff like Bruce Lee movies and you're like, oh, okay, well, that's what it is. Well, this was like real life version, right? So
great.
I met this guy and he was saying, oh yeah, why don't you go to the gym with me at some point? And I was like 15. So I'm like, sure, let's just check this out. So I went down with him a couple of times, and I remember the only thing that really mattered back then was how much you could bench as a kid, because that's all that the football players always measured it. Anybody else, it was either how much you bench or how much you squat. And then obviously all the form was completely wrong for everybody, but that's all they focused on.
Yeah,
So when I was 15, I started at the Mohawk YMCA, and then I was there, probably for the longest time, like good 3 or 4 years, because you always used to leave with the rust ring on your shirts because the stuff was so old. Yeah, it was so old. Nobody cleaned it. It was like humid as all hell in this basement, and everybody's just down there trying to get something accomplished. And I kind of like that because you had this cheap little stereo that was, it had to be like this by like that, right? And that's what the music was. There was no like surround sound system. There was nothing else. Like somebody just turned that on, and it was usually on like K-Rock, or it was like 96.9. You're listening to either the oldies or you're listening to some rock, and that's what you were doing. And that stayed with me. That stayed with me for a while. I think it took me probably until it was about 21 or 22 when I finally just took a break for a while. And a lot of it happened to be the point when I ended up getting shoulder surgery, because basically the doctor said, he was like, it was called osteolysis. They had to like cut like an inch portion off my collarbone. And he said what happens is that when you're doing heavy weight and you're doing like this repetitive type of lifting, what usually happens is your bones will actually start to deteriorate. I didn't think anything of it. I just remember one day I was I'm doing like rear delts, and I'm doing the max for it on the machine. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, it feels like, like how they do that like egg challenge where you like